Hello YouTube chess lovers, this is Gunjan here, and today I'm going to discuss with you some interesting analysis about bishop sacrifice on h7, which is also known as a Greek gift. Let's start with a game which I have recently played on internet. It starts with a French defense, and at this position black has castle on the queen king side. Now if you can look at the black's position over here, this knight on e7, and what it does is actually weaken somewhat h7 square. And today in my rest of the videos I'm gonna show you how this bishop sacrifice on h7 gonna work for the white, and it will help the white to win the game. So let's say bishop sacrifice on h7 and king take this bishop, and now white will come with a knight check. And there are four square where black king can escape. From them, two are really bad. If the king is moved to the h8 square, queen will coming on the h5 square, and this is mate in two. So that's not good. And if the king is coming on h6 square, it will mat with a discover check, and black loses the queen. So that's not good either. So let's take first option. If the king is going back onto g8 square, where here the white queen will come on h5 square, and now the threat is h7 mate. So the only good move here for the black is move this rook on the e file and giving some breathing room to the black king. And well, in this case white will continue with the h7 check. King is moving aside, again the queen check. Now this time knight is coming in between, and white will give the knight check, and where king is moving on e7 square, and he will meet up with a bishop check. Now there are two ways to block this check. First is moving the f pawn further, which will mat by the queen check, and this is mate. And another option is if the knight is coming in between, this bishop check is really deadly because king has no space to escape. So black has to take this bishop, and black will be made by this queen. So that's a g8. Now what happens if the king is moving further, which is g6 square? Well, here h4 is really deadly because h5 is coming, and you can already see there's no place for escaping the black king because it is surrounded by it is like its own pawn structure. So let's say black ignore this threat and try to play some random moves like moving rook over here. Then this h5 is coming, and if the black king is moving on h6 square, this will mate with a losing the queen. And if black king is trying to coming further, it will checkmated by white. So and let's say like what black can do about this. But unfortunately in this position black has no move, no pieces are capturing that h5 square. So the at most is this rook can come on the h file, and anyways white will give a check to the black king. And if the black rook take this pawn, this queen check is really deadly because white has to, there's one square to escape, and it will checkmate it here. So let's take another example. Now if you can look at the black's position over here, the knight is on d7 rather than in previous game it was on e7 square. So our white move order will slightly change, but anyways I will give you an illustration of how this bishop sacrifices work in this game as well. So black will take this bishop, and now it comes with a knight check. And again there's two options. First, king will go back. In this case, queen will come on the h5 square, and again the threat is h7 mate. So rook has to move. But in this case, instead of going this way, first we'll go in this way. So queen will take this f7 square and check the black king. King has to move over here, and again the same move orders according to the previous game. And the point where the black king incoming on the e7 square, this is made. So that's a g8. And if the king is coming further in g6 square, again the white will play the h4 square, h4. And if you can see over here, the white is already castle on the king side, so h4 is somewhat weakened. And if black is thinking he can attack on this h4, but h5 is deadly over here. And let's see how. If the rook is take this pawn, then white has a nice combination of queen and a knight. So what white gonna do is first give the d3 check, and now king has no square to escape, so he has to give this, like cover this check by the f pawn. And here white will take this pawn by en passant, and again for the black there is only one move, so he will take this pawn. Now we will give a check or to the king by moving the queen on f3, and black has to go only to the e7 square. Notice that if the black king is going on the g6 square, then this will met by this queen check, and again if there's only one place, and it will met by the like black loses the queen. So that's not good. So king has to move to the e7 square. So what white gonna do over here is delay the capture of this rook, and it will give a check on the f7 square, and again black king has one square to escape, which is d6, and now the white will capture this rook. And what it does is it's giving a threat to the black, which it will move the knight to the f7 square, and it will fork the king and a queen, so black can't take this pawn. And if you look at the vice position over here, it's materially white is up over here, and it will be a good game for the white. So let's take another good game, which I personally feel that it's a good explanation of Greek gift, because the reason behind is here the queen has moved from his original position. So let's see how it's work out for the white now. So white will again bishop check, and this now the knight check, and again there's two options. If the king is moving back, so the queen check, and if the there's only one way, so the rook has to move on this side, and the move orders are same, and now king is coming on e7 and bishop check. Now if you can look at the black's position over here, black has really one really good square to escape, and so what black gonna do over here is first block this check, and when the queen is taking this g7 square, then black king will run away on the d8 square. And now if someone can look at this position and can say, oh, the white is losing over here, but no, it's not. Let's see how. First white will exchange this queen, and there are two ways to take this queen. First, let's see if the black take this one by knight. Well, in this case white will take this pawn, and you can already see that if this pawn is going further, it will fork the rook and the knight, and not only that, it will give a discover check to the king. So black has to take this pawn, and white will take back with the knight, and you can already see the white is already 2 pawn up over here, and it's a good game for the white. Let's take another option, which king take this queen. Well, again in this case white will take this pawn, and let's say if the black is tried to save the rook, well, again in this case white will move the pawn further, and if again black tries to save the knight, then this is queening, and black will lose the rook, and it will be a good game for the white. So let's say the other option, where the white king is coming further on g6 square. Well, here the h4 is not deadly, because queen is already moved from its original position. So what white gonna do here is putting the queen on the g4 square, and it will force the discover check to the black king. So black has to do something about this. There are two ways to escape from this. First option is f5. Well, in this case there's a nice little move, which is queen move on the h4 square, and what it does is threatening h7 mate here. So the only way to defend is to move this pawn further, where in this case white will continue with the line with queen check, and if the black king take this knight, there's a nice little mate. And let's see if you can find it by your own. You can pause the video and you can find it by your own. I'm going further right now. So what there's a nice little move, it's called f3, and now what it does is it's threatening h4 mate. So let's see if the black rook moves over here, this is mate, so that's not good. And another option is the knight and come in between. Well, again in this case white will move with the h4 check, and if the king moves over here, this is checkmate. And if black knight take this pawn, then this is just checkmate, for delaying checkmate for a while. So now it's check to the king, and if the king moves further, this is checkmate, and if the king moves another way, this is checkmate as well. So that was the f5, and let's say f6 option, which will made by the knight check, and king has to move over here, because if it move over here, this is checkmate. So black king has to move over here, and this will made by the queen check, which will allow black kings to temporarily take this knight, and here the white queen will take this rook. And let's say black couldn't identify the threat over here, and it plays the knight over here, it will simply checkmate the black king. So black has to do something about this checkmate. So first it will capture this pawn, and white will capture back, and if the black capture this pawn over here, white will castle on the queen side. And the threat over here is like if random moves from the black like this, then this will made with the checkmate. So that's not good. And if the black see this threat, and if it's tried to avoid something, and he's try to do some queen trades, then white will simply avoid this, and this queen is moving over here, and this time checked by the pawn. And let's, if the black king move over here, this is checkmate. And if the black king move over here, the bishop check will allow black kings to go away from the knight. And you can already see that white is really good over here. In fact, white is really better, because you can see this knight is going nowhere. This bishop, this rook is take ages to come out. This queen has really few places to go, and this bishop on a diagonal way is nothing, doing nothing. So initially, white is really good over here. Well, thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you next time. Please feel free to comment on my video.